Although we are currently in the dark when it comes to XDefiant and its launch date, if they do stick with the word that they initially said of it launching in summer, or more specifically late in summer, they've got a really good opportunity to have a very successful launch, which honestly the game needs if it is going to survive at long term. If you guys are interested in XDefiant, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. I will be covering the game leading up to launch and plenty more content after launch, so make sure you don't miss out. But with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. So right now, the FPS genre is kind of dead, at least in my opinion anyway. Modern Warfare 2 wasn't all that. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't amazing either. Modern Warfare 3 does look promising, to be honest, but only because it is rehashing everything from the original Modern Warfare 2, and therefore even if it is really solid, it still might die pretty quickly simply because we've all played that content so many times in the past. And games that are pretty much remakes of previous games, even when done well, they do definitely have a smaller shelf life compared to brand new games. When we take a look at Battlefield 2042, although it is in a really good spot, it just puts out content way too slowly to keep players hooked. It's been that way since launch and it will continue to be that way, and it is nearing the end of its lifespan anyway. Halo seems to be doing fairly well in terms of correcting the issues that had at launch, but much like 2042, the damage is kind of done for a lot of people and the game will probably never live up to the hype that it initially had. If you look at games like CSGO and Valorant, they do also seem to do well, but they are pretty niche. If you're not already playing those games, you probably never will. And look at a game like Overwatch 2, it is literally the lowest rated game of all time on Steam as of the last few weeks. So a game like that isn't going to do anything crazy in the FPS genre. Now, sure, there are games like Fortnite and Apex that are doing pretty decent too, but BR is its own genre, and those games probably aren't attracting that many new players. Most people who play Fortnite have probably been playing it for quite some time now. I don't see the player base for those games constantly expanding to a crazy extent, and so even though they're doing really well, those games aren't really new or exciting in that FPS genre. Because of all of this, it does feel like there is a void in that FPS genre. There are lots of games that are pretty much okay. Not really any of those games that I mentioned are absolutely terrible. They're all pretty decent games, but the FPS genre definitely peaked 5 or 10 years ago compared to now, and that is where XDefiant comes in. Now, I want to be clear, I don't think this game is going to be like peak first-person shooter or anything like that. I'd probably say that XDefiant felt like it's going to be maybe an 8 out of 10 when it comes to an arcade shooter, but in this current landscape, I genuinely think an 8 out of 10 game would probably feel like a 10 out of 10 when you compare it with most of the other games that I just mentioned. They've chosen the absolute perfect time, assuming they do launch before Modern Warfare 3, to launch their game and take a lot of FPS players by interest. The other side of it that I think a lot of people aren't really giving enough credit for is the fact that this game is free to play. That is an absolute massive step, and it's something that I've actually been really wanting in the first-person shooter genre, or really just the multiplayer aspect of gaming in general, for quite some time now. When you look at Modern Warfare 3, for example, that will definitely be the more like polished, stable game. Call of Duty generally always launches in a very solid state, but the thing is it costs $100. A free-to-play game, especially considering all of the huge single-player games coming out this year, it's been a huge year for gaming, and it's probably appealing to a lot of people, myself included, to have a game that is free. So I've spent a lot of money on games this year, and I will continue to do so later into the year as well. So a game being free to play is actually very enticing. We've seen what free to play does when it comes to the first person shooter genre. When you look at the success of pretty much all of the battle royales, all of that, in my opinion, is down to the fact that they were free to play. Just take a look at Battlefield's Firestorm. That was not free to play, and although that was actually a really solid BR, it was an absolute bust because you had to pay the full price tag for the game to actually get to play it, whereas you could just go play Fortnite, Apex, Warzone, all of those were free, and so it gets a lot more people in the door, and that is only going to be the same case with XDefiant. So many people are going to try this game even if they aren't really that interested in it, purely for the fact that it's free. And I think once people actually get to play the game, a lot of people are going to really enjoy it because the gameplay loop did feel very solid from what I could feel when I was playing the beta. Now, really it comes down to whether or not they launch the game soon. If they launch it too close to Modern Warfare 3, then that will definitely affect their own launch in a very negative way. Launching it now could give them a bit of a buffer period, or launching early next year would actually allow players to pretty much become bored of Modern Warfare 3 and then move over to XDefiant, but they do seem adamant on launching this year, and I don't think any of us really want to wait until 2024. If I had to guess, I would guess that we're probably going to get the game in September, which is obviously this month, so we're not too far away, but we actually don't know that just yet. And if they do launch in October, that is going to be pushing their luck very much so, considering we are going to be a lot closer to Modern Warfare 3, and that is a game that no first-person shooter should ever be trying to compete with when it comes to launching in the same month. That is literally never a good idea. So I do hope the game launches this month, purely for the fact that we can actually actually get our hands on it and hopefully attract a lot of new players who might not be all that interested, but once they get their hands on it, they actually really enjoy it, and it sets it up for a very successful launch, which, like I said, I think this game needs. If it doesn't launch well, it will pretty much die within 6 to 12 months. Either way, it is going to be a very interesting time for the genre. I do hope that XDefiant is a game that can just kind of help lift up the FPS genre just a little bit. It's not going to be any sort of revolutionary game or anything like that, but like I said, I think an 8 out of 10 in this climate would actually feel very, very solid. So I'm keen to hear what you guys think will happen. Be sure to leave your own thoughts down below. Keep your eyes peeled for more XDefiant content right here on the channel, and if you guys are interested in just gaming in general, be sure to go and check out my new gaming channel. We're currently covering Starfield, but there's going to be pretty much any and all big games covered on that channel, and once we hit 1k subscribers, we will be doing a setup tour right there on the Sammy Boy Gaming channel, so be sure to go and check that out. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.